Let's build an AI WhatsApp bot in about 30 minutes or so without writing a single line of code. So throughout this video, I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process in which we're going to use the BotPress platform to build an AI WhatsApp bot, connect it actually to WhatsApp and being able to send text messages to it via your phone and get AI replies. Now, the use case that we will be going over in this video is the example of an Airbnb WhatsApp bot. Now, we're going to use this as an example to show you how you can make a document available to an AI and then use this whole conversation flow to answer questions about this. All right, so I'm now going to walk you through the entire process to build this bot in BotPress from scratch. So I have a document over here with all the steps that we have to go through, which I will also make available for you. So let's get into it. And we will mainly be switching between the BotPress platform and the Meta developer apps. So Meta, formerly Facebook, owns WhatsApp, and we have to set up some configurations there as well. So I've outlined it in the document. We'll be switching back and forth, but let's start by creating a BotPress account if you don't have one already. So if you follow the link either in this document or in the description, you can come over here to the BotPress website and you can already see kind of what they're doing, how they have created a very visual builder, a very intuitive way of putting these bots together. And it's really fun and nice to work with. So if you don't have an account, sign up and then log in, which will eventually bring you to your workspace where we can start to build a bot. Now, I already have one here, but we will create one completely from scratch. So let's come over here and first start by creating a new bot. So there we go. We can now come over here. We have Comfortable Nightingale, and let's change that name to something more descriptive. So this is going to be the WhatsApp Airbnb chatbot. All right, let's save that and come over here to edit. Let's open it up. We can either start from a template, but for now, I'm going to start from scratch. Use the template. So there is some in here, but I'm just going to delete all of that, start completely from scratch. So we only have a start and an end node. So this is the BotPress builder. And I'm going to walk you through the elements that we need. So we have a start node and an end node. And in between, we're going to build our conversation flow. What we can do is we can come in the canvas over here and right click and put in a standard node over here. And we can literally just visually come over here and connect the start to this node over here and now decide, okay, what is the action that the bot should take over here? So we can, for example, add a card and we can put in a text message over here. So we can, for example, say, hi there. And now let's create a very simple one and just connect this to the end. And so we have a very simple flow where if we start with the conversation, the bot says hi there, and then we go to the end. Now, the cool thing about BotPress as well is that they have this emulator function. So we can already start to experiment and see what the bot is actually doing straight from the UI over here without having to configure any connections for that. So if I now also say hi there to the bot, we should see that the bot should respond to us with hi there as well, based on what we've described over here. And then it ends the workflow. So this is now a completed loop, so from start to end. So you can see conversation ended. This is, of course, a very simple setup, but this is really the start. And what we can now do is we can now come to the WhatsApp integration and first make sure that we have that connection going back and forth so that we actually get a message on our phone. And then we can implement the AI stuff later. So with that out of the way, let's come back to our document. The final step is we have to make sure that our bot is published. So let's see, come over here, big blue button, publish the bot. So we can now come back to the dashboard and see what that actually looks like. And for now, we can continue with the next steps. So now we have to go to the Meta developers platform or your Meta developers account. So again, for this, you either have to first sign up, create your account, or if you already have one, you can just follow this link and come to your apps. So this is developers.facebook.com and then /apps. So here you can see the two bots that I was already working on. So we have one in Python that I created in a different video. And here's the one that I used for my initial test experiments. But let's again do this from scratch, follow the instructions, and now create an app. And now there are some steps that you have to follow over here. We have to start with create app, other business, then we have to name your app and then select the WhatsApp integration. So let's see what that looks like if we come over here, create the app, and we first select other over here. We go next, we select business, then we're going to name this one and call it BotPress Airbnb Bot Demo. Then you have the contact email over here. And then you can select the business account, but that's optional over here. So I'm going to leave that empty and we're going to say create the app. And here we can add products to our app. So here you can see that, for example, there's also an integration for Instagram, which is also owned by Meta. But for now, we'll do WhatsApp. So let's click on that. So then I'm going to select my business account here, which I'm going to put under Data Lumina. And then I'm going to continue. All right. And now we have set up our Meta app and have added WhatsApp as a product. So let's now come back to the steps over here. That's step 4 and 5 completed. We have to go back to BotPress, go to the integration and then click browse in hub. So let's see what it looks like. We come back over here to our app. Make sure you selected or your bot, I should say. And then we come over here to the integrations because now we are going to configure the connection. So here you can find all of the integrations that BotPress already has out of the box. And this is just what makes BotPress even more amazing because as I've experimented in my previous video, setting something up from the ground, doing it from scratch is so hard. So building the chatbots, the AI chatbots is not even that hard, even if you do it completely from scratch, but setting up the integrations and having like a two-way communication, that is just a lot of work, and BotPress makes this very, very easy. So let's see what it looks like if we choose WhatsApp. So you can see an overview over here from all the different functionalities that we can use. So we can use choices, drop downs, cards. So this is all very cool. So we can use it actually within WhatsApp. So click on the button here to install it to your chatbot. And then once we have the configuration set up, we can come back to our dashboard and then we can come to the integrations and you should now see WhatsApp over here. All right, so let's come back, select WhatsApp, browse project. Okay, this is probably the hardest part that we have to set up right here because now we have to do some configuration back and forth, but bear with me. So we're going to set up first a verification token, and this is a string that you can select. So you can, for example, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. It doesn't really matter as long as you remember this one. All right, so that's the first one. Now, let's see. Now we have to get our access token from the Meta app dashboard. So you can come back to your Meta for Developers apps. You then come to the API setup and there you have to copy the temporary access token over here. So copy this one. And please note this token will expire within 23 hours. So this is for testing purposes. If you set this up today and you come back tomorrow, it won't work anymore and you have to set this up. I will leave a link to show you how you can actually create a permanent token, but this is great for testing purposes. All right, so we copy that one, then come back over here, put in the access token, and then we have to put in your default phone number ID for starting conversations. Now, and this should be your test phone number. So Meta creates this number automatically for you. And here you can see it, your test number. So you should have that if you followed all the steps up until now. And then you also have your phone number ID over here. And that is the number we need. So let's copy that one, click on here, then come back to the setup part and put in the default phone number ID. All right, so now we're going to save the configuration over here. And now, so this was the setup on the BotPress part, but now we have to do one more thing to make the connection also on the Meta side. So we follow all of this, we save, and now on the same page, copy the webhook URL. So come over here and copy this webhook URL. So that is this BotPress part completed. And now we can continue with step 11. Let's go back to your Meta app, select configuration, and then edit the callback URL. So come over here, configuration, and then we're going to edit the callback URL. So come over here, put it in, and then say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then I have to do one more thing. I have to enable this integration first and save it. So I forgot that. So it should be live. So that means that this URL is now accessible and we can send some information to that. And we need the verification token of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if that is all correctly set up and we do it in here, we should be able to verify and save. So let's see if that works. All right. So that went through and we can now, let's see. We paste it in, verify and save. Okay, now, one more thing that we have to do for this webhook setup, we have to select what kind of events we want to subscribe to. So this will get, or it's very straightforward, but in terms of how this works, it can get a little bit technical, but because the webhook is basically listening and everything that happens, all kinds of events that happen on WhatsApp, we can send it to this URL. So here you can see we have account alerts, review update, account update. We have all kinds of things that we can do. But for now, we only wanted to subscribe to messages. And that essentially means, so we now can click on, we can make sure that the check mark is here under subscribe, click done. So now essentially what we do is we want to send a message to the callback URL whenever there is an incoming messages on WhatsApp. So this literally means if we send a message to the bot, so from our side to the WhatsApp number, then this whole system will get a ping, and that is its initial start to start processing that information and to eventually create the AI response. So a little bit of a technical background on that, how that works, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward to set it up. So step 14 is now completed, and now we can go back to the API setup. And okay, so this is where we can almost test the integration, but we of course also have to put in our own phone number first to validate this, because since this is still in a test setup, a test environment, let's come over here, we have to whitelist, so to say, our own phone number. So this is a test phone number, and this is not a number that everyone can send messages to. So this is not a public number. We have to specifically indicate which phone numbers are allowed to send messages to this number. And I believe by default, you get 5 numbers that you can add, but you start with your own number, of course. So what you now have to do is you come over here, so back to the API setup, and then you select the to field over here. And if this is your first time, there should not be a number over here, and you can come to manage your phone numbers. So what you can then do is add phone number and select the country code and then put in your own phone number over here, whatever that may be. And then once you click next, you'll get a verification code. And this code will be sent to your phone, but on WhatsApp. So not within your text messages like you normally get, but this is through WhatsApp. So the phone number that you use should also be a number through which you have access to WhatsApp. So please note that. All right, so then if you do the verification, your number will then show up over here and you can select it. Now, the only thing that we still have to do is send a test message. So select your number over here and then click send message. Now this can take anywhere from 60 to 120 seconds is really what I've found. So I'm going to get my WhatsApp over here. All right, and there we go. We now got the template hello world message. So if you get this message, congratulations, then it means that you followed all the steps correctly up until this point. And literally this was the hardest part. Everything that comes after is pretty straightforward, because what we can do right now is we can send a message, for example, let's say, hey, to our bot. And since the connection is already live and we have published our app, we can see, hey there, we get the response that we programmed within our very complex chatbot over here. All right, so again, congratulations if you managed to follow everything up until this point and got the message back, the hi there. Let's now get into the actual AI part of this bot. So I'm going to provide you with an FAQ document in which there are various questions and answers about a hypothetical Airbnb in Paris. So this can be a very cool use case if you're, for example, the host of an Airbnb and you don't want to answer the same questions over and over again about like, what's the Wi-Fi password? When is the check-in time? We can just hand that over to a bot. But remember, this is just one example and you can very easily swap out the document for something completely different and create your own use case, and you will have a completely different bot. The setup and the process is all the same. All right, so now let's make our bot a little more interesting than just being able to say hi there. So let's come back to our BotPress workspace and come to our chatbot and click on edit. So we'll open up the editor again and let's see what we can do over here. Now let's come over here and see what we can do. So BotPress has a lot of functionality, but I'm going to show you the very basics like I've explained in the introduction, where we can answer questions based on this FAQ PDF for a hypothetical Airbnb in Paris. So we have various QA pairs over here, and when people that are visiting the Airbnb want to know, for example, is smoking allowed, what's the Wi-Fi password, etc., they can ask the question via WhatsApp to the bot, and the bot will reply based on this information. So this is a very common use case that you can use AI for, especially with WhatsApp. So this also ensures that the AI has access to factual information, and it's not just you talking with ChatGPT, for example, which is also very nice in some cases, but it misses the context-specific information that you need to make these applications useful. Let's see how we can do that. And first, we have to provide that PDF to our bot, and we can do that with the default knowledge base selection that we have over here. So we can click on the plus and we can say, hey, we want to add a document, but you can see you can add much more. You can do a website, search a web, text document, but let's do a document. Come over here and you can see PDF, HTML, TXT, doc, or docx. So we have a PDF. So let's come here, drag it in. And again, I will make this available for you, the Airbnb FAQ. Let's confirm this, and it will now process all of that. It will take some time, a couple of seconds. And we now have this FAQ available within our environment. Now let's come back to our main workflow and show what we can actually do with this. Let's make the bot a little bit more personal to start with, and let's put a text field in here, and let's see. Let's start with, hello, I'm here to help you with all your questions about your stay in Paris. So if we now come over here and we say hi, the bot will say this and then it will immediately end. So end of the conversation. So that is not very helpful. So let's put in another note. And now this is where we actually get into the building of your conversational flow. So let's just link it up and say, hey, we first want to start. We want to have a welcome message, and then we want to do some stuff in here. And then eventually it's okay to wait. Let's actually wait with the end. We first want to identify what we can do in here. So now if we add a card, what we can do is we can put in raw input. And why is that? Because that can map the message that the user just sent. So if you send the message to WhatsApp, you will get the hello message and we can capture the raw input. And now what we can then do with that is we can enable the answer questions from knowledge base. And here you can say select in all or search in all knowledge bases, but you can also select which one you want to use. And here you can say this is the default one already. So let's just put it on. So you can also rename this. So actually this should be the Airbnb FAQ. You can also put multiple documents or items in here. So just for the sake of clarity, put it in here, make sure that that is, so we can now see, so that is the Airbnb FAQ. We only have one, so that should be good. All right, so we take the raw input. We can have a question over here. So what do you need help with, for example? Let's put that in here. And then what we can do, let's first just go straight to the end. So let's see what we have right now. If we rerun this and let's say hi there. So user comes in, says hi there. All right, so we get first the welcome message, and then is it what do you need help with? And then, for example, let's say what's the Wi-Fi password? So let's see. All right, and there we go. We get the Wi-Fi password over here. We can look that up in the document to see whether that is actually correct. Come over here, and here you can see it matches what is in the document. So that is perfect. And now the conversation ended. So this is just a one-way stream or conversational flow where users can ask one question. So that is still not a very helpful chatbot. So let's add a little bit more functionality and make it a little bit nicer. Like, what can I help with? And then what we can do over here is we can add another card, and we can do a multiple choice over here. So let's scroll down, select multiple choice, and then let's get the end over here. And then what we can say is, do you have another question? And then we can say either yes, or let's add one more. We can say no. And this should not be a knowledge-based answer. This is just a way to configure the flow of the conversation. And now what we can do, if the answer is no, we can just end it. Okay, that's all good. But if the answer is yes, we can loop it back to this same node again. So now what we've essentially done is we've created a loop where users can come in, they get the welcome message, and then they can ask questions. And then based on if they have another question, yes or no, they can just fill that in again and they will come over here. So let's see how that works. Let's come over here. Let's reset this, start the flow again. And let's say, hi there. We get the greeting message. What can I help with? Again, what's the Wi-Fi password? And there it goes. So it gives the answer, but then it immediately goes to the multiple choice. Do you have another question? And then if we say no, it will go to end conversation. But if you say yes, it will loop back to what can I help with? And we can, for example, ask, is smoking allowed? And then we get the answer, smoking is strictly prohibited. And then we get another question. So you can see that we have now set up this loop. And for example, we can now say no, and this will end the conversation. That's all good and well. Now we can prompt the conversation again by just sending another message. So we've created a very basic, but already very powerful flow that has access to this document, can answer questions until the user doesn't have questions anymore, and rinse and repeat. All right, but now, of course, this was all in the browser, and now we, of course, want to test, does this also work within WhatsApp? So for that, we first have to publish the bot. So make sure you publish that, and that will push all of your changes to the live version of the bot. So let's wait for that to finish. And then in the meantime, I can come over here and go to my WhatsApp. So we can now see bot is published successfully. I open up the conversation again with my test number. And you can also, by the way, rename that number. So I've renamed it to Airbnb bot. And now I can come in here and let's say hi there. And let's see what we get as a response. And there we go. Hello, I'm here to help you with all your questions about your stay in Paris. What can I help with? Let's see, when is the check-in time? All right, so it takes about 2 to 3 seconds for it to process everything. And then it says check-in time is after 3 p.m. Do you have another question? And now this is what's really cool. Out of the box, WhatsApp supports a lot of like functionality where you can do multiple choice, selections, all of that. So here now on the screen, I get just the option to say yes or no. So do you have another question? I say yes. And then you immediately reply with that. And then it should trigger the loop again. What can I help with? Let's do another one. Let's see what's in there. For the sake of demonstration, restaurants. Can you recommend a restaurant? So let's just check, can you recommend a restaurant, see what it will do. And there we go, we get a lot of good recommendations from the bot itself. Do you have another question? Let's say no to end the conversation. Then we don't get a reply, so it leaves it at that. And then we can just prompt the bot again by sending another message. So I've shown you all the steps. Now, this is of course a very simple bot and there's a lot more that you can do. So you can really come in here, start with different nodes, and you can look at all of the cards that they have in here. So we can execute code, we can get data, images, files. We can do a lot of cool things in here, but that's not for this video. Like I said, if you want to learn more about that, make sure to check out BotPress's YouTube channel. Dive into the documentation or tutorial videos. But this really, I would say, is the hardest part, to get that end-to-end connection going. And once you see and have that working, now you can really start to get creative with this and just build cool applications. And now, of course, this is all using a test number, so this is now not actually live. You can only send messages to this with the whitelisted numbers. But if you eventually want to publish this, you should come over here and then add a phone number, which you can either use your own phone number for or get another phone number. And then you should come back to the integrations. So then you would have to fill in that phone number ID over here. So that is if you really want to take this from test to a real phone number, you would have to go through this process again, but that's not for the scope of this video. All right, and that's how you build a AI WhatsApp bot using BotPress. So that whole process took like 30 minutes or so, I think, if you follow through with all the steps, compared to literally 2 days of grinding and research to build this using a custom solution with Python. So a platform like BotPress is really ideal if you want to like set yourself up for quick prototyping, quick testing, or if you don't have the coding experience to build a custom application, of course. So I'm definitely going to experiment more with the BotPress platform. And if you want to do so too, if you haven't already checked it out and followed along, make sure to check out the link in the description so you can sign up for BotPress and start building your own bots. Either deploy them over WhatsApp or any of the other plenty of integrations that they have on the platform. And that's it for now. Thank you all very much for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like as well, and of course subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more videos on artificial intelligence and data science. That's it for now. Then I'll see you in the next one.